Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. As you can see, today I'm going to build a PC. More specifically, this is a mid-range PC build for around $1,000 price tag, which converts to below 1 lakh in India and some 1,80,000 here in Nepal. I am still learning my skills on building a PC, so I hope that Bitwit does not make a roast video about this build. Anyways, I have been planning to make at least one PC build video every month, so do let me know in the comments below what kind of PC build you're looking forward to. Okay, so for this build, I have these components. First of all, of course, we have the motherboard. For this build, we got ourselves the MSI B560M Mortar Wi-Fi, which is a decent motherboard and a good upgrade over its previous generation B460. It supports RAM overclocking and has 4 RAM slots in total. Still, it is not as good as the more expensive Z series of motherboards, but it has got good VRM to deal with the CPU we're getting. It has fair enough heat shields, and it also has Wi-Fi 6E support. You can also get the slightly cheaper B560M Bazooka or the slightly more expensive and better B560M Tomahawk variant if the price difference in your region is not too much. Anyways, onto the CPU, we have the latest Intel Core i5-11400. At first, I was a little confused about whether to get this one or the Ryzen 3600. Actually, both of these CPUs are priced very similarly here, but since the i5-11400 has slightly better gaming performance, we chose to go with this one. And since the stock coolers that come with Intel CPUs are pretty much trash, I got this aftermarket air cooler from Cooler Master. It's the HyperEdge 410R. It came for some $20, and you also get the thermal paste inside. Moving on, I paid a little bit extra for the RAM and got myself 2 sticks of 8GB RAM from a company called XPG with 3600 MHz speed and CL14 timings. But if you want to cut short on the budget a little bit, you can also go for the 3600 MHz speed one, which should be just fine, I guess. Okay, for storage, I have been a little conservative. I got this 256GB PCIe Gen 3 NVMe SSD from PNY. Although this motherboard supports Gen 4 standards, but it is quite expensive, so we thought of getting this one. For storing my games, I got a 1TB hard drive as well. Now for the GPU, as you guys might be aware, it is so difficult to get one these days and the pricing is crazier than ever. Luckily, I got this NVIDIA GTX 1660 Super for around $400 and I took the deal immediately. Although the GTX 1660 Super is not an RTX card with dedicated RT cores, but it is still a good mid-range card, and with new NVIDIA drivers, you can enjoy some ray tracing as well. But currently, the reality is that for $400, you will only be able to get GTX 1650, and if not for the shortage, you should be able to get RTX 3060 for a similar price, which is just crazy. Finally, we have a 600-watt power supply from Cooler Master, and for the casing, I got a pretty good deal with this Asus TUF GT301. It cost me around 12,000 here in Nepal, and it's currently on deal at MD Computers if you live in India. It is an ATX mid-tower build with 4 fans in total and pretty good looks actually. Alright, so as you can see, this is the total cost of this rig, and if you guys want any further information about any of these components, I will put down all the links in the description below. Make sure to check this out. Now let's start building our PC. Alright, so first we go in with the motherboard. Here we have it, our B560M. Remember to be very careful with the CPU. Alright, so we have our CPU here. Now we go in with the RAM sticks. We have 2 8GB RAM. Okay, so if you're installing RAM for the first time, you need to remember that you go in with the A2 and B2 slots first. Okay, make sure to align the corners and you hear this click sound and it is good to go. Click, click, and we're done with RAM. Now we go in with our SSD. Let me first loosen the screws. Now we go in with our CPU cooler. Now, depending upon which CPU you have, you will either need to choose an Intel or an AMD portion of this thing. I'm going in with Intel because it's an Intel build for me. Okay, one done. We're done with this. Now let me put this around. Finally, we're done with this. Now we need to screw this up. Okay, now it's time to fix this on our board, but before that we will put in a little thermal paste. We're done with this. Now we need to install our cooler. Okay, now let's put in the fan. Okay, so we're done with our motherboard. Now we're going to install it into our casing. Okay, here we have our essentials. Now I'm gonna go in and put in the screws. Okay, we're done with everything on this side. Now let me turn it to the other side, and first of all I will install the hard drive. Taking these off first. Alright, so before moving forward, let's get done with these cables first, and then we will install our PSU. This way it will not be messy. So next up we go for our PSU. We have all our cables. All of our cables have been placed. Now we need to plug it in. Okay, so all our cables have been plugged in. Now it's time for us to install our GPU. For that, I will have to lay flat like this. Okay, let me turn it around and unscrew these. Okay, here we have our GPU. We're done with the GPU. Now it's time to make our PC look a bit pretty. We're going to manage cables now. After all the cable management, our PC looks like this. Now it's time for us to cover this up. It's done. Let's take this off. And our PC is ready. Just one last thing remaining. We have a little space here for this. With this, you can hang your headphone here. Just comes in handy. Alright, now we're done with our PC. Now what I'm gonna do is boot this PC up, install Windows, install some games. I'm gonna check the stability of this PC and I will get back to you in a few days. Hey guys, so I'm back. I am done with all the testing. We played a lot of games in this rig, and what I can say is that this rig provides excellent FPS in games like CSGO, Valorant, and League of Legends, even in the highest of settings. More graphic demanding titles like Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed, and Shadow of the Tomb Raiders will also provide you with good FPS in medium and high settings. Not just that, this system is quite cool and silent too. So with that, I have come to the end of this video. I will be leaving all the benchmarks and FPS and games I played in the clip right after this, so please check them out if you would like more information on performance. Also, feel free to comment down what kind of PC build video you would like to watch next. Till then, I'm Pratima and I will see you in the next video.